Welcome to AP World History vocabulary. This is a how-to for doing your vocabulary homework in AP World History. My goal is to be able to upload videos of each and every single vocabulary word that I assign to you for homework, and this is the introductory video to let you know how you can accomplish getting all of your vocabulary done without having to worry as much. So this is the first time I've done this, and you will be the first class of kids who get to access this, but I hope it's worthwhile. So first of all, let me explain the vocabulary quickly. Every chapter I assign questions and vocabulary words for you to complete for your weekly homework assignment. Then we do quizzes, and at the end of each unit we do unit exams, and we do essays. And so vocabulary is really essential in order for you to, number one, be able to answer multiple choice questions about those vocabulary words and others, and to be able to use these vocabulary words in your essays and understand them and use them for evidence. So in order to be successful, basically you need to complete and understand the vocabulary tasks that I give you. So the first thing that I asked you to do for your vocabulary words for each chapter is to write down the word. So task number one is write down the word. And each chapter I tend to give out on average about 15 words for each chapter. So some chapters you might get 23, 24. Some chapters you might get only 10. It just kind of depends on how many essential vocabulary words that there are in that particular chapter. So the first step is to write those down, and you can do that right the day that you get the assignment sheet. Write down the words in a longer list, because you need to do more with each word. That's the easiest part. The second part of your homework is kind of a level 2 task, which is to define each word. And so a definition of each term is fairly simple. It's basically a dictionary definition for each term, which is pretty basic. So for instance, if the word is industrial revolution, the term is industrial revolution, you would write down that word, and then in your next box or the next line you would write a definition for the industrial revolution. Now you can do this task in a couple of different ways. The first way you can do it is go through your chapter, and while you're reading, define each word as it pops up. You can also probably find these words in the back of the book under the glossary of terms. Most of them are back there, but not all of them. Or you can go on the internet and find out what these terms are. Now, the other thing you could do is watch these videos, and I will define each term for you. So for instance, the Industrial Revolution is basically the shift in manufacturing and work from hand processes, so handmade or hand-made power, human power, into machines, machine power, mass production, factories, that type of thing. So that's the basic definition of what the Industrial Revolution was. You might also include the Industrial Revolution took place in the 1700s through the 1800s. And you might say that it started in Great Britain, and that industrial powers tended to be those nations that were richer. So this is kind of the basic definition. It's simple. It's 1 to 3 sentences, brief. You can even use bullet points. I don't care, as long as you understand what that word is. So that's the definition. Part 3 is what I consider the most important part of this definition, and this is really either a level 3 or a level 4 part to this assignment, which is where I ask you to explain the significance, or kind of the so what of each term. So why do I have to know this term? And for a term like the Industrial Revolution, you would explain that this was such a massive shift that it revolutionized the way people did work, the way manufacturing happened. You might even include some examples. For instance, the horse and buggy was replaced by the car or the steam engine. Trains were an example of industrialization, where trains would be able to carry massive amounts of goods from place to place. People started using fossil fuels instead of handmade power. So people started burning coal and gas and oil. And you might be able to give some of those specific instances. For example, the steam engine was a major component of the Industrial Revolution, and that those richer nations were able to use industrialization to their benefit and overpower nations that were non-industrialized. So, for instance, a machine gun was an example of an industrialized weapon against something like a spear or a bow and arrow, which is what non-industrial nations would acquire. So you can see that a huge significance of the Industrial Revolution was that anybody who was industrialized was kind of automatically more powerful than those who weren't. So we've gone from just stating the term to stating a basic definition and then stating the overall significance of the term. And then the final task I have you do, which some people find annoying, but I think is still vital to this task, is to be able to draw a little picture, a diagram, a graph, a chart, anything that represents this term. I know that not all of you are very good artists. I'm not a good artist myself, but think of this as a Pictionary challenge. In Pictionary, you're kind of rapidly drawing something that is the essence of what the word is and trying to get people to guess what it is. And so the idea is you draw something that is just the essential elements of this term, and you would be able to quickly go back while you're studying and kind of test yourself to see, or test your friends, what did I draw here, having known what these terms are. So that's the four parts. You list the word, you define the word, you give the significance of the term, and then finally you draw a small picture of the term. Now, vocabulary at the end of the year, 36 chapters times 15. I'm going to have to do quick math here. We're looking at about 500 words. That's about my estimation for how many words you're going to know by the end of the year. However, at 10, 15, 20 words per week, you're actually looking at only about 2 to 3 words per day of a school day that you're going to be looking at and doing. So a 5-day school week, if you can do 2 or 3 a night, you're going to get them done in a normal amount of time. My suggestion would be to do that while you're doing your reading. Do 2 or 3 vocabulary words every single night and space it out over the course of a week, as opposed to doing all of them at the end of the week. What you'll see happens with your time is if you give yourself 20 minutes to a half hour every night to be working on this homework, you'll be much better off than the person who puts it all off until Sunday night, crams for 3 hours, and on Monday they can't remember those words. If you space it out over the course of the week, you're going to be able to review those words in class, understand the meaning of them, and then when it comes time to have your notebook check and have a quiz, you will know those terms and be able to use them much better than the person who did it the night before. So time management is key, but hopefully this video, or these videos that I upload, as long as I can continue to do it, will be helpful for you. So this is video 1 of the vocabulary terms, just to kind of explain those vocabulary terms, which you will come to probably hate, but by the time the test comes around, you will love, because you will have a book full of vocabulary terms written by you that will help you understand these terms even better. You might think that this is cheating for me to give a video, which essentially is doing your homework for you, but you have to do this homework anyway, and I think I consider it kind of extra lecture time by me, so it is more work, and it's more work than what we do in class. So this will help you in a few ways. You will encounter these words while I'm lecturing in class. You'll encounter these words while you're reading on your own, and this is kind of a third way for you to encounter these words and to be able to do things with them and become more successful in this class. Any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them in the comments that appear below these YouTube videos, and I should be able to get back to you, or bring them up in class and I'll be able to talk to you then. Hopefully this is helpful, and be awesome, and I will see you tomorrow.